Hello, folks. Welcome back to another cast of Heroes of the Storm. My name is Lignar, and I am joined today by Adam. How are you doing today, man?
Oh, I'm doing pretty well. Today's cast, we're going to be on Shire. I know I've been waiting a long time to do some casting, so I was super excited when you were on the Nexus and then said, hey, let's go ahead and do some casting together, because I think it's really a two-person job, you know.
It definitely is. The two that I did before solo were kind of rough.
Yeah, I heard them, I liked them, but it'll be great to kind of do it together. So let's kind of get into this match right away as we get to see the blue team here. From left to right, we have Samurai Zeratul, we have the American Jim Raynor, Vala the Demon Hunter, not Zeratul, that's Tyrael, and then Tassadar in his mech costume. And on the red team, we have Tassadar, just normal, Abathur, Falstad, the Elite Horn Chieftain, and the Cook Stitches.
I'm digging that they're showing off some of the skins in these matches and not just the straight-up heroes. I think this is the first time they've actually shown off the skins. Well, let's talk a little bit about the map here that we're seeing here. The top and middle lane, the top and bottom lanes here, there's a shrine, and you have to control the shrine in order to take what we just saw there was the Dragon Knight statue. You have to control both of the shrines at the top and bottom to take control of that statue. Then one of the players on your team will go channel on that statue, just like a lot of the other PvE objectives we see that involves a channel. That player then becomes the Dragon Knight. And honestly, I'm not sure, and they might have changed this a couple times by now since it's still in alpha. If it's a period of time or until the Dragon Knight just dies, I think it's actually a period of time, or he dies. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But they really haven't given us a whole lot of detail on that I've seen. Do you know from the Nexus? Or have they released anything like that? I mean, this is the first time we've actually seen this map.
Well, from the other match that they showed, it was either or thing. If the other team can burn you down fast enough, they kick you out of it, or you just get a certain amount of time. So it looks here in the top lane we have like a kind of a 2-on-1 going on with Stitches against Vala and Tyrael. So I'm wondering kind of how that's going to work with with the meta, because it looks like it's like a 2-on-1 up top, a 1-on-1 in the bottom, and a 2v2 in the middle. So I'm thinking that's kind of be what we're going to expect in the future. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I'm not real sure, other than I know they've talked to the devs about it, and they said that they've kind of developed their own meta in game when they're doing their internal testing. But they kind of expect once they get this out to the community that the meta is just going to shift all over the place, which it makes total sense that that's actually what's going to happen. So they've even mentioned that about comp as far as having pure support class and that kind of stuff, and how the community is actually going to use these characters. So
and it looks as though the red team here is going to try and get the first activation of this Dragon Shrine, as Abathur's kind of sitting there with both the top and bottom shrines under their control. I don't know if I like the idea of Abathur being the Dragon champion compared to some of the kind of more like tankier heroes that could be in that role. I think he has the ability. It's nice to kind of get him out from behind the scenes and up front, because it kind of gets you a little bit more kind of direct damage. But when he comes out of that dragon, I think he's going to be squishy, and he can't really run away all that well because of his like slow movement speed.
Unless he can use the ability where he can tunnel anywhere on the map. I'm not sure if there's a cast time on that ability. So if he's quick and can get that, if he's got his teammates around him to maybe help support him a little bit while he's getting away. I think it's kind of a either or. If you have a good team coordination, you could probably do it where Abathur's just not going to get smoked as soon as he gets kicked out. But
and as we see here, he actually specifically kind of ran out as he knew he was going to die. But Zeratul was planning on it, and I think he's going to take him down right there. So
and we got to see a pretty good example there of how Abathur just can't fight.
Now his teammates right now are trying to kind of get a little bit of swing back in their favor, as both Raynor and Tassadar are kind of rolling low on health, but it's kind of a back and forth match so far. They definitely did enough damage with that dragon to make it worth it, getting it first, but with Abathur hanging back, it's going to be tough for them to really keep the pressure on.
Definitely isn't. It looks like I can't tell from the minimap. For a minute, I thought the red team already had control of the shrine on the north, but I don't think those have respawned quite yet. I think it was just a player portrait that I saw on the minimap. But it does look like. Also, with this map, what we're seeing here, there are the mercenary camps, the NPCs that you can defeat to get control of. That'll come kind of help you out a little bit. And I'm kind of curious why they didn't go for a mercenary camp while they had the Dragon Knight, or maybe the blue team go for the mercenary camp to maybe offset the Dragon Knight a little bit. But maybe that's some of that metagame that may, I guess, develop or even shift as the game comes out and we get it into beta and we see how things go.
I think it's interesting. I don't know if this is a Mac mechanic or if their kind of creative use of game mechanics, as the Siege Giants actually are going past the first wall in the bottom lane and attacking directly to the towers behind it. You can see it right now on the right-hand side. That's really interesting how they were able to kind of push them that way instead of into the lane and the traditional way through.
Yeah, and I've noticed before on other maps that it seems like the pathing for those mercenary camps isn't entirely accurate, where you have them for a limited amount of time and they walk backwards and get on the path and then start going towards the enemy base, and that could just be maybe being an alpha that's part of maybe one of the issues they're dealing with and how they did bypass that wall. And I didn't notice that until you pointed it out, and I thought, yeah, sure enough they did. So
what I've also find interesting is right now you kind of see blue team really trying to push the lanes, as red team's really splitting themselves around throughout the map in order to kind of get the most XP. And you can see in terms of levels, red team's just a little bit higher. They hit level 8 about 30 seconds before blue team was able to. So I wonder if they continue that way, they'll probably hit level 10 and get their heroic abilities sooner, kind of be able to add to the pressure at that point instead of right now.
Yeah, especially if they keep the pace up. Although blue team looks like they're making a comeback there in regards to that. Actually, it looks like they moved ahead a little bit in terms of levels. So I think as long as, once you hit level 10, you have an advantage. But as long as the other team is not far behind you, or I guess a better way to say it is if you're not far behind the other team, if you're behind that curve, if you hit level 10 just shortly after they do, it's really not going to be that big of an advantage. And as we see, the gap kind of closed a little bit more, and red kind of came back ahead. So it's definitely, if you're far ahead, you can definitely shift the odds in your favor with the heroic abilities. So,
and we can see how important this middle shrine is, as Tassadar is not taking the chance to kind of go back and heal, and just keeping the Elite Horde Chieftain off of it, because they really don't want a second Dragon Knight coming at them.
Definitely not, but it doesn't look like, the red team seems like they're pushing the blue team back, so it's not looking like they're going to be very successful here. I'm kind of curious, was that Zeratul that looked to be going back for the... Yeah.
Tassadar.
Looks like he's getting the channel. Tassadar, sorry, yeah. And he did get the channel. The red team has a Dragon Knight again, and I'm kind of curious if maybe Elite Torn Chieftain up there is going to go for the NPC camp while they have the Mercenary camp while they have the Dragon Knight, but it doesn't look like it. Just going to move in and go do some damage to a town, it looks like.
It was really interesting just a moment ago as we got to see Falstad really shine, and what I think is going to be one of his strengths is his movement abilities. He was able to jump and really get to Raynor and kill him before he could really get away, and that's, I think, the main strength of Falstad is that mobility. I think we're going to see a lot of that in coming games when we got to see what he's able to do and why people would choose him over, say, a more tankier or a more DPS focused champion.
Yeah, and it's interesting that we saw it used that way, because in the other games that I cast, it seemed to be more of a defensive, I need to get out of here and avoid damage. So it's interesting to see it used in a more offensive fashion. And then we got to see Elite Torn Chieftain use his, I believe it was called Stage Dive, where he can just teleport anywhere on the map and do some damage where he lands. And that's another one of those characters that I can't wait to play, just for the fun abilities like that.
Now, Tassadar just popping out, this is what I was talking about, having kind of a stronger champion. He lasted a wee bit longer than Abathur was able to after coming out, and he was able to keep that pressure on through the entire Dragon Knight time, rather than falling back when he had like 10-15 seconds left.
Right.
In the end, I guess it was the same exact situation where he got killed, but he was able to kind of keep that pressure on more. Blue team seems to really be pushing the kills right now, as I guess now that they're kind of catching up a little bit. They were down by 1 kill, and killing Falstad has kind of evened up the numbers there.
Yeah, they're even in kills, but they are down 1 fort, so it seems like the advantage is slightly in the red team's favor, with them being almost to 13. They're 2/3 of the way to level 13, and blue just hit 12. So again, that's really not going to have that much of a difference until they get to 20. So we'll see how if that gap stays, or if the blue team's able to make up some ground.
And we see those extra fort basically because they're able to get that Dragon Shrine above the blue team. And that's what's really pushing them to be able to stay in the lead right now. Blue has come back again with another mercenary camp. However, it looks like red, unless red got one as well, red was able to steal it, where you actually have to channel on the mercenary camp after you defeat them in order for them to, go against your enemy.
Right. Yeah, red team is again pushing back, and blue team did close the gap a little bit on... Oh, nope. I take that back. Just as I was saying, blue team closed the gap. Red got a huge jump in XP there, so they are almost to 14. And I don't think the shrines are up yet. They will be back in 12 seconds, according to the timer at the top. So it's going to be interesting to see if red team gets the shrine. If they get the Dragon Knight again, I think it's probably a little bit too much. The game is a little too far gone for blue. But we've seen other matches in the past where a team's on the ropes and they manage to come back. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out.
Now, another time, like just a moment ago, we got to see really the tankiness of ETC, where he had 4 enemies on his back, and he was able to still get out of there alive. Now, that's the type of champion that I'm going to want to put into this Dragon Knight. Someone who not only gets in there with the Dragon Knight, but once he's there to stay as himself as well. I think we're going to see some real, a strong play from that if they choose to go that route. What kind of frustrates me, I'm not going to lie right now, is you really don't see what Abathur is able to do on the map. I know he's there and he's helping, but I can't pick out what he's done to help his team.
It is kind of hard to tell from just the video that we have, but being able to just buff his allies and that sort of thing, it's kind of hard to tell with the UI that we have in front of us now. But he is engaged. I guarantee you, Abathur's not just hanging out in the background, twiddling his thumbs.
What's funny is, as I say that, Alan Newman, who is Abathur, was able to make the clone of ETC, right, and actually show us a thing or two. He's like, you know what? You're gonna tell me I'm not doing anything? Here I am as ETC.
It's like they were listening to us or something,
Exactly. So we have the Siege Giants down in the bottom for red team. They're trying to work their way into getting a couple more forts down, as they actually are up 3-6.
And they have the Dragon Knight now as well, making another push. So I'm not sure how this is going to play out for blue, other than probably not good.
Yeah. Well, so who do we have in the Dragon Knight right now? It is Abathur again. So they're sticking to Abathur as their Dragon Knight. They want to kind of have a strong front line instead of Abathur sitting in the back when it comes to Dragon Knight.
The only logic I can put behind that, having not played the game yet, is it gives you, rather than having 3 heroes and the Dragon Knight fighting up front, putting it with the push, you now have all 4 and the Dragon Knight. So all 5 of your heroes are able to contribute to the push. And it seems to be working out for him. I mean, Abathur, we saw him die relatively quickly before, but it seems like it's working for him, and maybe not having Abathur's buffing abilities is not really hurting them too bad. Obviously, it's not. They seem to have the game pretty well in hand here. They just took down another fort. They haven't lost a fort themselves, and blue is down to 2 forts remaining. Plus, red team is on level 17. They are 2 levels ahead, but blue just jumped from 14 to almost all the way through 15. So they're able to close that gap really quickly, and I think probably... they got a kill there, right? As the Dragon Knight went down, so that's probably where that XP boost came from.
Yeah, yet again, they were able to kill Abathur pretty much as soon as he undragon knighted. You see Tyrael here. He's trying to take out Stitches, kind of get a little bit closer in terms of level, but he has that tower protecting him, and Tassadar does the same as he's heading up against Raynor. The red team is doing a great job at using their towers to make sure that the finishing shots aren't being done on them. They're zoning them to the best of their ability, and keeping them at range. So they if you go in and kill them, you're going to die from the tower.
Yeah, and then we just saw an example of why I'm really looking forward to playing Raynor. He looks tanky enough. I mean, at 3-on-1, and he lasted for quite a while there, with 3 red team players just beating on him. So. That and calling in the Hyperion, I just can't wait.
Yeah, it looks, although in this match, that he didn't actually take the Hyperion. He actually took the Banshees. A little while earlier, I guess, saw the Banshees come down. And I love that ability for you to choose which heroic ability you have, because depending on the damage and the time it lasts, they really could affect gameplay significantly. And you get to choose it in each game, and so you can really customize it to the situation, which really brings that depth that Blizzard wants, where it's easy to play, but it's difficult to master and know which ability you should choose at what time.
Right, and I think he probably took that because of the stealth ability. on the other team because those can attack stealth units. So.
Yeah, with Zeratul being able to stealth, it's a big plus, especially in these team fights where you don't really quite see what's going on.
Yeah, the only thing you can see there is there's the Banshees, but the red team did have the NPC, the Mercenary camp. So, and the red team is going for the shrines again. I don't see. Honestly, I'm not sure they even need to get the Dragon Knight, but if they do manage to, I think it's game over for the blue team. They seem to have just been handled with no, just reckless abandon, just taken out. It's usually we see a little bit closer match from the developers, but I'm kind of curious if this is a comp or just a meta game or what's causing that shift that we're seeing here.
I think part of it too is their strategy. Like if you look in the middle lane there, they had ETC and Tassadar, so they had their support and really their tank kind of pushing mid. So it took 4 of the other team's champions to even like threaten them. They were able to kind of stay in there and deal some damage, and as the rest of their teammates took the shrines. It looks again like Falstad is about to become the Dragon Knight, unless Zeratul is able to take him down here.
Yeah, I don't remember what the name of the ability is there. It's the Time Warp, effectively, from StarCraft 2. It managed to interrupt the channel, but Falstad did escape. Kind of curious if he's going to get back in and get the channel on. Most of the red team's there to support him, so we'll see. It looks like he's going to succeed, and he does.
And he does, yeah. I mean, he's going to push through that town, if it's not already dead. Man, that's what I'm really looking forward to, is be able to kind of pick and choose my own place to look, because it's like, what is he heading towards? But it looks like he's heading towards, what do they call it, the central, is it the Nexus? Or no?
I've heard Nexus, and I think a lot of the terms I've heard are kind of carried over from other games in the genre. So I refer to it as the Nexus, but that's just because what I kind of refer to it as generically. So.
Yeah, because that's definitely what's called in League of Legends. So it looks like they're going to take it down here. I don't know if blue really has enough damage to stop them. And it looks like we do have a victory for the red team.
It's definitely so. The blue team had one player down, plus the red team had the Dragon Knight, and I just don't think that there was enough there to fight off the red team. But that's pretty much it for this game, guys. Thank you all for watching. Is there anything you want to add about the map or the game in general that you've seen so far that you're looking forward to or not looking forward to in particular? Or?
I mean, I'm really looking forward to how quick these games are, because there's nice in and out games, but how important those objectives are in this game. Like if Red showed here that if you control that dragon the entire game, you're gonna win your game. And blue wasn't too far behind in terms of level, but it would have helped a lot if they would have gotten 1, maybe 2 of the Dragon Knights out there.
Yeah, I think I'm most looking forward to the PvE objectives that kind of change the genre up and keep it. It seems like a complete departure. You know, the Mercenary camps NPCs, but these objectives seem to be a complete departure from the rest of the genre, and that's what I think is going to be the thing. I guess a game changer, for lack of a better phrase, for Heroes.
Oh, for sure. Thanks again for having me. We'll definitely be doing this again next time we get some gameplay video to cast for you guys out there.
Heck yeah! Thanks for watching, guys, and hopefully next time we'll be doing this from a replay.
Yes. Goodbye.